Good evening, online family. Before this video plays, I want to say that if CRT and book banning are the answer, you should also ban violent religious books. Some don't appear to be violent. Those who hate are disconnected from the truth. Some Trump supporters in Miami even state that Obama made race relations worse. Research on your own and find the truth. Let me go back to being myself now. What's up, fam? Let me just say this. There's some, let's call them lighter skinned people who don't like darker skinned people. They never liked us. They never did. They never will. Going back to the beginning of this country and the way it was founded, they didn't like us. We were enslaved. We were made to do things we didn't want to do. You got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like Joe Biden, people like Ron DeSantis, people like Trump. Trump's not going anywhere, first of all. It doesn't matter what he's indicted for. He's not going to be arrested. He's not going to spend any time in jail. So let's just get that out of the way right away. I don't understand why there's so much hatred. I don't understand why you hate us so much. Now that, what's come out recently is that Ron DeSantis has passed a law stating that Asian history can be taught in schools, but he did everything in his power, fought everyone he could to make sure Black history was kept out of schools. So I have no idea what's going on, but the facts are the facts. Some people don't like us, and I don't know why. They always hated us, and they always will, as far as I can see. Anyways, what really pains me the most is that you still have people who say, "Why are we so angry?" or "Why do we hate so much?" Like they're oblivious to what's been happening and what's been going on and what they've been seeing their whole lives. They turn a blind eye to it. They don't really want to see the truth. Facts are the facts. If you really want to know why we're angry or the reason we hate so much or the reason we even think there's white supremacy, I'm going to show you why right now. Anyways, before I get to the video, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet and you like what this channel shows you, please go ahead and subscribe.
You're going to like this.
Woke. Here is how Merriam-Webster's dictionary describes it. Aware of and actively attentive to important societal facts, especially issues of racial and social justice. Now, it's a word that we all hear a lot of these days, and woke was coined by Black activists to bring attention to racial injustice, but these days, conservatives are working overtime to redefine it to suit their political ends, so much so that it may very well have lost all of its meaning. Take, for example, this noted conservative who this week struggled to come up with her own definition.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Here's her follow-up tweet explaining her actual definition. She says, it's a radical belief system suggesting that our institutions are built around discrimination and claiming that all disparity is a result of that discrimination. It seeks a radical redefinition of society in which equality of group result is the endpoint enforced by an angry mob. Now, to me, one of the issues here isn't so much that she couldn't do it in that moment. It's really that the definition that she's putting forward is one that has been created by conservatives in the last couple of, let's call it 18 to 20 months since the summer of 2020. And it's been created in order to sort of attack the idea of social injustice as a concept, it seems.
My name's Marjorie Green. Thank you all so much for hearing everyone and listening to so many people. And thank you for hearing me as well. I just wanted to tell everyone that I support keeping all of our monuments, and I'll tell you why. As a mother of 3 kids, I always want to be able to point to statues, monuments, or any type of history so that I can tell my children and teach them lessons in our country, whether they're good, bad, embarrassing, something that I'm happy about, something that I'm sad about, or something that I wish hadn't happened. We're seeing situations where Christopher Columbus, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, all kinds of statues are being attacked. And it seems to be just an effort to take down history. And whether I see a statue that may be something that I would fully disagree with, like Adolf Hitler, maybe a statue of Satan himself, I would not want to say take it down. But again, it's so that I could tell my children and teach others about who these people are, what they did, and what they may be about. I don't want our statues taken down in our country. I don't think you remove or erase history. So I do agree those statues shouldn't be taken down. They're part of our history. We should learn from our history. We don't erase it. But that doesn't make me a racist because I say leave the statue up there. If I were Black people today and I walked by one of those statues, I would be so proud because I'd say, look how far I have come in this country. Look how far my people what they have overcome. And these are good things.
there were many reports of how they're being abused and how their rights are being abused. And remember, these are pre-trial January 6th defendants. The reason why we're here is because the two-tier justice system has to end.
These are the people the Republican Party has chosen to embrace and to prioritize. These are the people who have, interestingly, made Republicans finally care about inhumane prison conditions, when activists have been sounding the alarm about that issue for decades. It's important to remember, when you hear these lawmakers claim that these incarcerated insurrectionists are political prisoners, that that's not the case. These imprisoned people are accused of committing crimes, real crimes, not political ones. The Justice Department has arrested over 1,000 people for things like assaulting police, obstructing an official proceeding, breaking and entering into a federal building.
I saw a delegation of elected congressional members that were starstruck when they got an opportunity to finally see the January 6 inmates. I saw privileged people is what I saw. The criminal justice system that I'm used to seeing does not afford them tablets that allow them to end up with a #1 song on iTunes because they're able to record or they're able to text their family members whenever they want to. I've never had a client that had the ability to access a laptop for weeks so that they could review in the privacy of their single cell jail their discovery. The privilege that I saw was actually quite astounding, even though we were supposed to talk about or review how bad the conditions were. If anything, I have never seen a jail that afforded so many privileges to anyone. And as I said, I've been licensed in Texas, Arkansas, and in federal courts for almost 2 decades.
Congressman Garcia did make the point that he said these prisoners are being held in much better conditions than most black and brown inmates in prisons across the country. This is a point that you make a lot, that black and brown people have been in lousy prison conditions, incarcerated in per capita percentages much higher than pretty much anywhere else in the free world for a very long time.
reject woke ideology. We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die. Raises the issue of what I call the woke mind virus. Woke ideology is destructive. It is motivating disastrous policies in our country.
Say, my grandmother used to say, a hit dog will holler. And it hollered through this room. Mr. DeSantis has spoken. Hey, first of all, he's got neo-Nazis helping him out in this state. He has spoken at racist conferences. He's accepted a contribution and would not return it from someone who referred to the former president of the United States as a Muslim, Nigger. When asked to return that money, he said no. He's using that money to now fund negative ads. Now, I'm not calling Mr. DeSantis a racist. I'm simply saying the racists believe he's a racist.
I thought you were about close by. And so there's this strange malignancy now that seems to creep among them. I don't know, radicalism. The Jews are born spies. You know, some of them are just in it, up to their necks.
In Chicago, they found a woman who holds the record. She used 80 names, 30 addresses, 15 telephone numbers to collect food stamps, Social Security, veterans benefits for 4 non-existent deceased veterans' husbands, as well as welfare. Her tax-free cash income alone has been running $150,000 a year.
Some people say, well, they're soft on crime. No, they're not soft on crime. They're pro-crime. They want crime. They want crime because they want to take over what you got. They want to control what you have. They want reparation because they think the people that do the crime are owed that. Bull. They are not owed that.
Joe Biden's 5 million illegal aliens are on the verge of replacing you, replacing your jobs, and replacing your kids in school. And coming from all over the world, they're also replacing your culture. And that's not great for America.
You know, Putin mentioned the N-word. You know what the N-word is? It's no. It's the nuclear word. He mentioned the N-word yesterday, the nuclear word, not supposed to be mentioned.
Not a single elected Republican has stood up to condemn Attorney General Rokita for those comments, or Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene for espousing great replacement theory, or Senator Tommy Tuberville for his claims that people who want reparations are criminals.
My parents decided to have the nasty in South Africa, where they live, and have me, you know? And now you're calling me a colonizer. I didn't colonize shit. Okay, I was born here just like you.
I'll get to your parents in a second, but a few things first. Everywhere on this planet where your phenotype exists, indigenous people suffer. Everywhere on this planet where your phenotype has settled, indigenous people want you gone. Everywhere. So you can choose to do something with that information, or you can just ignore it and say, you know what, you were born here, that's fine. Now, the fact that you were born here should not have happened. You were born here of violence, colonization, right? Your parents remained here because a system was put in place through violence, through colonization, that made it legal for you to stay here. A system that indigenous people did not approve of and has never favored them and has never benefited them as well. So the legality around you being here and staying here has nothing to do with indigenous people, because we did not agree to this. We did not consent to this. So now you're saying you're not a colonizer because you didn't colonize any place. This is where I blame your parents. Because where you are born is not controlled by you, but what you do with what you know where you are born is everything. And the fact that you are this ignorant, I blame on your parents. So this can be the start of a journey towards educating yourself about colonization, how you've benefited from it just by your skin color, or you can stay ignorant like your parents have allowed up to this point. So, granted, there are many white people all over the planet who fight for indigenous rights. There's a reason they do this. You can educate yourself as to the reasons they do this, or you can just stay another ignorant white person. So what I would do if I were you is I would chalk the last 19 years and blame it on your parents allowing you to grow up in this bubble of privilege where you don't know anything about your history, you don't understand why we say you are privileged, and you don't understand why people call you a colonizer. You can blame your parents for all that. But from this point onward, what are you going to do with what you now know? What are you going to do with the fact that all over the planet where colonization has happened, indigenous people still want white people gone? What are you going to do with the fact that all over the planet where settlers are, on average, they are always doing better than indigenous people? Why do you think that is? And why do you think that so many countries are still sitting destabilized, even though colonization ended so long ago? Who do you think is perpetuating colonization? Who do you think is continuing the legacy that colonization created? Because as you say, all the colonizers are gone, but how is it that their descendants are still benefiting from what was done?
So the last thing I want to touch on is the banning of the poem by Amanda Gordon. Now, this is ridiculous. I mean, the poem, I've read the poem and I didn't see anything in the poem that warrants it being banned. This is just by one racist parent in Miami-Dade who decided that the poem was too toxic for her and her child. This is ridiculous. And the parent has a history of trying to ban books. Just listen to this.
If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright.
That poem, The Hill We Climb, is now banned for elementary classes at a school in Miami-Dade after one parent, just a single parent, complained the poem was not educational and had, I quote directly, is not educational, indirectly hate messages. That his purpose was to cause confusion and indoctrinate students. That one complaint was enough for the school to ban elementary school kids from reading that poem by the first ever National Youth Poet Laureate and the youngest ever inaugural poet. And that was made possible by one man and his, facilitators in the legislature, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Tonight, Amanda Gorman has responded to the ban saying, quote, "I am gutted I wrote The Hill We Climb so that all young people could see themselves in a historical moment. Robbing children of the chance to find their voices in literature is a violation of their right to free thought and free speech.
Now the parent responsible for making the complaint has been identified by the Miami Herald as Daly Salinas. Back in March, Salinas, the parent of 2 elementary school students, made formal challenges to the following works: the ABCs of Black History, Cuban Kids, Countries in the News, Cuba, Love to Langston Hughes, the poet, and Gordon's The Hills We Climb. Now the group Miami Against Fascism says they've combed through Salinas' social media profiles and found evidence of far-right activism, including proof that she attended several rallies of the alt-right white supremacist Proud Boys group. Jamel Hill asked, quote, "Is this the one parent who successfully got Amanda Gorman's poem banned? Will the Miami-Dade School District reverse this decision now that it's surfaced that parent has ties to a white supremacist organization, or does the comfort of a white supremacist matter more?" I want to be really clear about what has actually been banned. The ABCs of Black History. Mm-hmm. Love to Langston, which is a kid's book about a great African-American poet, Langston Hughes.
And 2 books about Cuba.
Countries in the News, Cuba.
Yeah.
We have no sense of what the ideological bent of that book is. Countries in the News, Cuba. And Cuban Kids.
Yeah.
Cuban Kids. I wish we had the paperwork about that. It looks like it's a picture book. Cuban Kids looks like a picture book. It's described on Amazon as a timely and remarkable photo study of the children of Cuba. Documents and brings to life the Cuban culture, history, and spirit.
So like I said, Amanda Gordon did nothing wrong. She read the inaugural poem for Joe Biden's election. I mean, I don't like Joe Biden, but at least, she read the poem. And there's nothing wrong with it. Again, this is just racism against us. She doesn't like dark-skinned people, so she decided to get herself involved. Like I said, this is one parent. Just one. So you be the judge. Everything I presented to you today, there's a lot more. There's a whole lot more that proves that we're not liked, we're not wanted. But I will leave it to you. Open your eyes and just take a look around and see all the things that happen every single day.